Alrighty. Hey guys, it's day one of the Redacted conference. I'm David, co-founder of Nico, and I'm here with Cameron Dennis. Cameron has been in the Near ecosystem for many, many years. He's worn a lot of different hats, and I'll turn it over to him for just a quick intro.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Cameron Dennis. I've been building a Near for about 4 years, about to hit my 4-year anniversary, I think, next week, which is exciting. Started off as just a simple BD analyst. This is before network launch. And so how do we get all the oracles, indexers, explorers, exchanges, on-ramps, custodians, all the things that are needed to make the ecosystem happen? And now I'm focused on Near AI, which is very exciting. And specifically on the sort of intersection between the research bucket and the ecosystem, sort of like all the different parts of the decentralized AI stack. So happy to dive into it, but it's a rabbit hole.
Right on. Let's go. Before we do, just want to give you some swag.
All right.
We got a Nico gear here, so Cameron.
Oh yeah, thank
here
you
go. Yeah,
so
man.
much. Yeah. Not only a bag holder, I'm a shirt holder.
There you go.
Great.
Yeah, and soon to be a stuffed animal holder too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Near AI. What about the Near blockchain to you is so compelling in regards to this monumental narrative, market-moving, technology-moving force that is AI? How does that relate to Near protocol?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is why I joined 4 years ago, was the fact that Near has account abstraction built into the protocol. And why this is so compelling is that you're able to have, access keys that can control really anything arbitrarily. Yeah. And so now it's really this kind of marriage between everything that's happening on the chain abstraction side and everything happening on the AI side, because, quite honestly, like agents are just going to go after liquidity and users. They're not going to care what blockchain those things are on. They just want to, be able to plug into a network and be able to call contracts on any chain. And so this is only possible on Near because of the account abstraction built in the protocol, because we can actually scale state. Like the fact that Near shards and is now dynamic means that, we can handle as much throughput without having that CryptoKitties moment. Like CryptoKitties in ETHland, like pretty much like set the Ethereum, I think, technical roadmap back a ton, and now has totally shifted to like the L2 strategy. And so we don't need to do that. That's a huge win.
Absolutely.
And so it's, it's kind of boring for retail, but at the end of the day, like the things that make Near protocol special is like really important technical innovations. Specifically on the sharding layer, the chain, like on the chain signatures layer, and then lastly is like this intense. So it's all coming together, and it's only possible in Near.
Right. And yeah, for me, I guess building AI applications with the Near stack, I try to reflect on that question a lot. Like, why is Near uniquely suited here? Because some of like the application development can, you can sort of interchange blockchains in some ways, but you nailed it on the account model. I think that is like, from a technical perspective, like what really sets Near apart, and what like most people don't really understand until they start developing and seeing what's possible, especially as chain abstraction evolves. And now we're talking about operating on any blockchain just via a single experience.
So this is how we break out of Web3, honestly. Like I kind of see chain signatures as the way to like check the blockchain box for one last time. I mean, let's get real. Like I've been in this space for about 8 years. Blockchains kind of suck to use for end users. Like we need to make it invisible, and we've proven that we can do that. And that's what I love about the Near ecosystem is like we actually go out and like get users and get companies and make blockchains invisible, and then kind of move on to the next thing. Like we needed to hit that like 10 million weekly active user count to then move into chain abstraction. Now we're just like really checking the chain abstraction box. Now we're really focused on AI because all these things build upon each other. So I'm super bullish.
Yeah, and then it doesn't hurt that, what was it, 6 or 8 people wrote the Transformers paper, the attention is all you need, and just so happens one of them is the founder of Near Protocol, co-founder of Near Protocol. So I would imagine that if there was a blockchain to succeed in that space, Near's a pretty good bet.
And what I love about that is like we're now in our journey, like a lot of L1s and L2s, they a lot of times have to like run these grant programs to attract projects or make like heavy investments. We're now kind of hitting that piece where like we don't need to write checks in order for people to start building on Near. That's a really big step forward in the maturity of an ecosystem. And so I'm getting these signals now. It's super compelling. I think this is only going to get better. And they're building on Near for the right reasons.
Right. And I think a good example of that was the Redacted hackathon, right? Where 1,600 teams submitted, maybe over 1,000. I don't know, under 2,000, but somewhere between there, which is a pretty massive amount.
Godspeed to those who have to like review those proposals.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane. The hackathon was intense. Brandon and I were for like 5 weeks, like every day. But we got some pretty cool stuff built. So awesome. As far as your support for AI-based projects in the ecosystem, we talked a little bit before we started recording, but what are you most excited about? What are you kind of most dialed in on?
Yeah, right now. So there's two big buckets, and this is kind of what confuses people. They're like, "What is near building in AI?" Well, there's an ecosystem, and like in this decentralized AI stack, is the way I see it. It kind of includes decentralized compute networks, data labeling networks, agent frameworks, agent orchestration, agent, discovery, data labeling. There's so much, and so on the ecosystem piece, we need different founders that are proven founders. I mean, this might be controversial, mostly interested in working with second-time founders because they know the mistakes of running companies.
Yeah.
So what we have now is like pretty much most of these second-time founders focused on every piece of this decentralized AI stack,
Right.
and this ecosystem is growing. Like huge shout out to the Horizon team and BetaWorks and Delphi because they're really providing like amazing resources and advisory for these founders to enter the Web3 space. Because a lot of these people are AI focused. Like in order to really serve the target customer of these AI companies, decentralized AI companies, you need to know the space. And who is that target customer? It's AI founders, researchers, and developers. It's not really retail right now. Retail will come when the agents are actually providing, services that make their lives better, and they're going to need the infrastructure for the compute, for the data, et cetera. And so, very optimistic on like that whole decentralized AI stack on the ecosystem piece. I've worked very closely with the Horizon team on making that happen. And then on the other side is the research. This was just announced today. We are running a competition to do decentralized model training for a 5 billion parameter smaller model, and then those who do the best will kind of get more compute in order to train others, which is really exciting. So, kind of really trying to work with the best independent AI researchers to build an actual user-owned model.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting. And by the way, there's awesome teams that are already doing this, like Prime Intellect, Noose Research, Exo Labs, et cetera. So we're going to work closely with most of them. And that is on the like community research side. And then on the like internal research side, this is like not talked about a lot. But the reason why Near got started was because after Ilya co-wrote Attention is All You Need, they were worried about AI superintelligence exploiting every vulnerability on the internet, which is a real concern.
Absolutely.
And so this is freaking crazy, but we want to build an AI developer that can write software and that is formally verified. Formal verification is a cryptographic technique. It's like it's essentially pure math, like applied math, where you are creating proofs that are verifying that there's no bugs in your software.
Right.
And if we're having an AI developer, we want to make sure that this AI developer is generates formally verified software. And so this is like a crazy intersection between like pure math, like ML, and like just security.
Yeah.
Where we want to get people to train LLMs that can generate formally verified proofs and then prove them.
Awesome.
And that's a lot of like internal near AI research that's happening.
And it's cool to see that applied to software, but it also applies to like every other vertical of internet content, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can generate code that could get exploited, but you could also generate videos and images and sounds that copy an actual person, a real person, and that becomes a real scare with AI too. So it's kind of like a similar verification perspective. And I know like WorldCoin's doing a lot on the human verification side. So
yeah. This is the future. Like I think formal methods and formal verification is not heavily talked about right now in the industry. In academia, it is. Like Terrence Tao, who's like one of the most prolific mathematicians these days, he's like dedicating a lot of his time to doing like can LLMs discover new math?
Yeah,
is the gist, and formal methods is the way. So it's super early. Like this is crazy alpha right now. Like if watch this video 2 years from now, and you're gonna see like what is actually happening, specifically in regards to robotics.
Okay.
The main application for formal systems today is like autopilot for airplanes. Like anything that's like mission critical, we don't want to go wrong.
Yeah.
And so they use formal verification to do this. So again, it's super early. We haven't announced that prize yet, but time will come.
It's pretty interesting, but it also feels like you got a lot of weight on your shoulders to how do you verify that? And is there another guy that's gonna be like, well, hey, here we go?
Oh, there will be 100%. Like we have to hedge every edge case. So there will be. We know it's coming. and also superintelligence is coming.
Yeah.
And this is like, I'm living in San Francisco right now, really kind of like plugged into like the AI world, and people don't know what's happening like in the rest of
Yep.
the world. It is fucking insane. I think obviously everyone has their predictions for like when superintelligence is coming. I'd give it less than a year and a half.
That's huge.
I know. Like, and I know I'm not an expert, but like,
Well, I think you can, like, as far as like AGI goes, I think that you could say in a lot of ways that we're already there with artificial general intelligence, because I can interface with an LLM and have like more productive conversations and results than most people.
totally.
So,
I do that all the time. Like, this is my Saturday night. Yeah.
I'll end it on a hard one, a tricky one. As far as user-owned AI goes, something in my research that I've seen is just like comparing the scale of the corporate giants, the open AIs, and then we have open source artificial intelligence. And as far as the models that are available from the open source level, insanely powerful. So like people have access to really strong models. But as far as the hardware goes, the corporate overlords sort of really trump us in terms of just the compute, right? You're talking about warehouses of 6,500 H100s.
Totally.
And then like the top decentralized compute, like a cache, they have maybe 250, 300 H100.
Yeah.
So it is hard to kind of compare those. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's like we don't have the resources that these giant foundational research labs have, but we have to compete with them in other ways.
Right.
And so this is the whole point of crypto. Crypto's proven to align incentives. Like, this to me is like the entire use case. Like, before, we couldn't send money across the world because double spend was an issue. Bitcoin introduces this idea for, making sure the ledger is secure. I think we could use crypto to incentivize the behavior that we really want in this world. And that is a bit more of a decentralized training approach. People are able to put their compute onto this network. There are a lot of issues. I'm moderating a panel tomorrow on exactly this thing. Actually, it's today, about the performance issues. So there's huge latency issues with these decentralized compute networks. I do think it will get better over time. I think that if we focus more on building like small models that can run locally on devices, this is the real end state of AI. And I didn't come to this conclusion myself. I came to this conclusion last September when we ran a conference with a bunch of other Attention is All You Need co-authors. And funny enough, and like OpenAI researchers, the author of Llama 2, like the top people in AI land, they all agreed. Like, they all agree that the future of AI is small model and local devices, but like we're further away from that.
Yeah.
And so I think if we start doubling down and like really focusing on this now, we will be able to compete with the big giants. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we wrap up for today?
The role of trusted execution environments, TEEs, are very important for private inference and eventually like private training. Right now, we are working closely with a really cool team called Follow Network that is focused on essentially building out this like network of TEEs for the entire Near ecosystem to do private inference. This is really exciting. I'm a little bit concerned about the role of TEEs in making AI fully autonomous. I love the sort of like edge of that, but at the same time, I do think there's some real like security and safety concerns. So I would like to see a bit more investment into verifiable safety and guaranteed safety. And funny enough, the people who are really pushing guaranteed safety forward, they're all formal methods, formal verification people. So I do think that like there's a solution here. But TEs, short term, formal method, like guaranteed safety through formal methods, medium term, longer term, like fully homomorphic encryption and other stuff.
And let's, maybe for the audience, let's just break down explain like I'm 5.
Yeah.
TEEs are.
So it's trusted hardware. What that means is like you can perform some sort of computation and have that computation like live on your device. And there's like a specific chip in your device where everything essentially like vacuum safe. And the only people who can get access to that are you, the person who owns that device, or the person who created that trusted execution environment.
Right.
I'm sorry for all the jargon. I hate it as well. But that trusted execution environment right now is pretty much Intel and NVIDIA and AMD. And NVIDIA, like all future H100 GPUs, will actually have these secure trusted enclaves on the device, on the machine. So you're able to run private inference and do private training, which is huge because at the end of the day, you don't want the person that's running these models be able to see everything that you've done to chat with this super intelligent being. And at the end of the day, I think it needs to be more private if we're going to really let super intelligence decide a lot of what happens in society. Like, we're already leaning on algorithms to power the stock market, to power shipping lines, to power all this other stuff. I think that's only going to grow, and I think privacy is going to be a prerequisite to making it, safe.
Yeah.
So,
and as far as privacy goes, something for me, when I think of blockchain, I think of a public ledger, right? And so that privacy element is we sort of haven't solved it greatly. There are privacy solutions out there. People have different takes on them, but how does that apply here?
Yeah, so we're not putting a lot on chain when it comes to we're not putting inference on chain. Inference is happening off chain, and when it comes to the on chain activity, in my eyes, it's just using crypto to incentivize the behavior you're looking for, incentivize people to run that trusted hardware. Again, despite Near's awesome performance compared to other chains and everything else, it's still not ready for storing a model on a blockchain. Let's not do that. But it is helpful for the testing that certain things have happened,
right?
Or incentivizing people to do things. That is a good, very, very valuable thing, and we need to make that experience invisible, because all these AI researchers, they don't want to log in with a wallet. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to navigate complexity, and no one should. So Near is, I think, the only blockchain that will be able to hide that. It has hidden the complexity for things like Sweatcoin and Kaikai and everything else. So
awesome, man.
It's coming.
Cameron, great conversation. Thank you so much, man. Have a great rest of Redacted. I'll see you later.
Cheers. Thank you for the shirt.
Yes. Yeah.